Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode. This is the second episode in the Real Talk with BeingACCA. We are both the founders of BeingACCA. I am Tushita, she's Punya. You already know us, so we will not waste time in introducing. This podcast, the theme of this podcast is going to be that we will talk about the interview experiences that Punya has had. So, you all know she's working at EYGDS at the moment, and she had appeared for multiple interviews before she landed this role. So, this video is going to be all about her interview experiences. I'll be asking her questions, she will be giving the answers. So, let's get started.
All right, so just a little disclaimer that a lot of people actually tend to ask us a lot regarding the interview process and how does it happen, etc. So with this podcast, hopefully they'll get some answers regarding the same because these are some real life examples that I am going to give you. And yeah, just a normal conversation we're going to have. I think you have also appeared for some of the interviews, so we can share some experiences which I think will be helpful with the students. So I
Yeah,
think let's start.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first question for you is before I ask her questions, I will just like to briefly tell you what she does.
Yeah.
At EYGDS, she's in the business risk consulting domain. So, whatever risks that the different businesses are facing, they come to her with those risks, and she helps her manage the companies manage these risks.
Yeah.
So, my first question for you will be that, although I already know the answer, but for the audiences,
Yeah.
so what really drew you to consulting? Was it something that you had planned, or did it just happen?
Okay, so just like all of us, all of the people, I was doing my ACCA back then when I was appearing for interviews, and as many of you would also would think of going to audit as a field because that is, I think, the most common one out of the all. That is what my agenda was also to go into audit. I even applied for audit role only, and the interviews also mostly which I gave they were in relation to audit only, but due to the I think there was some basis some criteria was there on the basis of which they bifurcated the people as per consulting domain and audit domain, so they put me in consulting domain. So it was not planned, something which was not planned, not on my bucket list at all. But if I just talk about, after it's been 2 years, as we speak right now, it's been 2 years in consulting, and I think it has been a good experience. I think I've learned a lot. I think also I am able to manage so much of things because I'm in consulting. Audit is too much to handle for a person who is juggling between a lot of things. So I think, yeah, consulting has been good till now. It's been 2 years, better than audit, I would say, probably. But yeah, it has been a good experience.
All right. So let's get now to your interview journeys
Yeah.
in general. So, like we have been talking about, I think you have sat for interviews for almost all the big four,
Yeah. Yeah.
the big four companies. So, can you walk us through how did you start applying, and how did you prepare for these roles?
Okay, so basically, I there were two things. Firstly, there was campus placement. So I was in Delhi University. So I via the Delhi University, you sit in the campus. Like every
College,
college has a
yeah.
campus placement cell via which you can sit for the interview. So that was the one thing that I applied through, and through that you get opportunities. You get the company name, and then you need to fill the forms, etc, and then you get into the whole process. That's the first thing. Second thing that I did was applying off campus also, because I think a lot of people tend not to do that, and sometimes, a lot of people, I think, I would assume, are students who are probably out of college or are from open learning college as well, so they might not have the opportunity or the liberty to go to a placement center and ask for the opportunities. So for them, I also personally went through the offline applying portions as well. So talking about the campus placement, it was quite easy. You can just once the company comes, your placement cell will to tell you about the same. You can fill up the form, basic details is asked. It asks you have to have an updated resume for sure, so that has to be done. Once that is done, they'll the first step towards it is an aptitude test that they usually take place for all the companies. I think it happens. It's a basic aptitude test which contains some mathematical questions, some English questions, roundabout questions are there. And once you clear that, I think, which is very easy, most of the students do clear that.
Yeah.
And once you do that, then there's a technical round. Then there are, depending upon the company, every company has their own journeys,
Procedure, yeah.
procedures. Mostly it's technical, then HR round also. Some of them only have 2 technical rounds and no HR round. So it depends upon the criteria of the company. That was my process, the journey for the campus placement. And the offline one, again, as we also recommend students that, apply through the company's websites, search on LinkedIn. I think Naukri.com is one of the platforms wherein I got an opportunity after being in EY. I think there was a company who reached out to me, and they were offering a really good role in audit, role and package both. But yeah, that I got from Naukri.com because I was applying, I was keen on applying that there as well. So that's that. And anything else? Interview process, I think.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
My next question for you is that you were applying for different roles at these different
yeah.
companies. So, did your approach for preparing for these interviews change with the changing
Yeah.
roles, or did you keep your approach the same?
No, absolutely not. I think if you're applying for different kind of roles, like one is applying for audit, one is applying for consulting, another is applying for taxation. Of course, your approach has to be a little bit different because the questions that you're going to be asked are going to be different, of course, as per
Absolutely.
the tailored to the scenario, tailored to the domain that you're applying for. So yes, my approach was little different, not too much, because the basic questions are going to ask you regarding you, your behavior, your
That remains
college,
the
that
same.
remains the same. But the technical round, I think the questions differ. So in audit, the questions are different. If you're applying for tax, the questions are different. So how I used to prepare, I used to simply go on Google, or sometimes also I used to go on YouTube and watch some podcasts, watch some videos when people have shared their questions, and reach out to people on LinkedIn also, that hey, I have applied for this role, I have an interview tomorrow, can you please help out with some of the questions that were asked to you. So that helped. But major approach change was just that I need to know. Firstly, I think a lot of people who are very new to, like, who have their first interview or something, I think for you it is very very important that you know, for example, I'm applying for audit, at least I should know what role I am applying for. I need to know what audit is, because honestly speaking, I'm not making this up. When I was in my college, and EY or some other PwC also came in, and they were for PwC came for consulting and EY came for audit. So many of the students who are applying for audit, they did not even know what is audit. And
Yeah.
that was the first question which the person asks you, no? Because if you're applying for audit, you should at least know what the role is. If you do
Absolutely.
not know much of the technical things, that's completely fine.
They
But
are
at
not
least
expecting you to know the
they
technicals.
know that we are freshers,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is that at least you should know what is taxation, what is audit, what is consulting. At least you should know that. So I think that approach changed, and I did my research upon what is audit. Because see, honestly, by the time that I was appearing for audit, I have already cleared my AA paper of ACCA.
ACCA.
So that helped a lot, to be
Definitely.
very honest, because
Mhm.
I was way ahead of people. I knew a lot of more things that people actually did not know.
Mhm.
So that really helped me out with the taxation paper also, because I appeared for taxation and I gave the interview for taxation also in PwC, and it went smooth because I knew a lot about
Right.
UK tax already. So I think that really helped. That was the only change of approach that I followed for the companies.
Okay. And the next thing that I would like to ask you is that how did you manage your time and energy during this interview season,
Yeah.
especially when you had back-to-back interviews?
Okay, I think okay, that I think changed with the I prioritize my interviews and these than my college and ACCA also, to be very honest, because I knew that this is really important right now, because if I get right now into a good company, it will be helpful for me in the future.
Yeah,
So
the journey
the
ahead becomes
yeah,
smoother.
yeah. So basically, if you people are from Delhi University, you would know that the placement season starts from June, July, August, last up to September or October. So these months are really very, very crucial for interview process and updating your resume, keep up with the process, etc. Know what company is coming to your campus, etc. So that I prioritize that. I stopped going to college as such, because again it was not really important for me at that point in time. I prioritized interviews, I used to prepare for it, and then I also appeared for my ACCA exam. So that is how I used to manage, because everybody should know what is important at what point in time, right?
Right.
Because if my ACCA exam is coming, I'll deprioritize my BCom, deprioritize other things, and
Yeah.
focus
Focus
upon
on
that.
what's important then.
Yeah, similarly for the interviews as well, it was important for me to prepare and get into a good company. So again, that prioritization I think really helps whenever you have a lot of things on your plate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next thing is that about your current role at EY GDS, how was your experience, the interview experience there?
Okay, so what kind of questions etc. were asked or
Yeah.
something? Okay, so basically, EYGDS, so basically the person who was interviewing me was a CA. So he asked basic questions firstly. I think that is very common for all the interviews, regardless of the role that you're applying for.
Right.
So they'll ask you about yourself, your family also. The sometimes asks you that what your father is doing, what your mother is doing, how many siblings do you have. Sometimes they ask you. To me, I when I sat for EY India interview, the person asked me this thing. So that's that. And basic about yourself, little bit about your college journey, what are you doing right now apart from college. So because I was doing ACCA, so the person also asked me regarding that when will you be done with your ACCA qualification, etc. So that he asked me. And then the interview questions I remember were mostly in regards to the personal ones which I just mentioned, then some of the behavioral ones also. So because I was captain or the team lead for one of the teams that we had, or the societies that we had, so he asked me, how did you do you manage it, how do you manage the people, the team in a team, how do you lead them. And some he asked me some behavioral questions also, as to if there's a conflict happening in your team,
How
how do
will
you
you deal?
resolve that. All of those behavioral questions which I think are widely available online also. So something on those lines which are very important for a person who is getting recruited in their company as well. That's that. Then he asked me something related to my weaknesses. So he did not ask me any strengths, he straight away dived into weaknesses. What are your
Okay.
weaknesses? So you have to be prepared with weaknesses, and those weaknesses which you are telling them should not actually be a weakness,
Yeah.
it
You
should,
have to disguise it.
yeah, it should be disguised as a, like, it should be a weakness, but you should pretend, or it should be something which is seeming like a strength for the
Yeah.
company, benefit for the company.
Or you can show to them how you are working upon it to
Yeah.
rectify that
Exactly,
weakness. Yeah.
exactly. So if I just remember one of the weakness which I told to him. I think I told two to three, but one which I remember was that I am very time oriented. I like my things to be done on certain time, and sometimes that does not happen when you're working in a team, because everybody has their own ways of working. So that is again good for them, because for them the work will be done on time, but for me it is little bad because I won't be able to manage it in a team.
Yeah.
So that is again a thing that you can probably prepare for, because sometimes they do twist the questions in such a way which
Yeah.
tests your knowledge, or test how you can behave in a particular scenario. So that he asked. And then some technical questions are definitely he asked me regarding audit, what is audit process, procedures, all of those things. So it again helped me when I did my audit paper. And then he asked some journal entries, basic journal entries, debit, credit, all of those. Golden rules of accounting, he asked me, very
Very
basic,
basic.
very,
Yeah.
yeah, very basic. And then he asked me some, what is the difference between profit and loss account and balance sheet. So again, very, very
Yeah.
basic.
Yeah.
So these things he asked. And then by at that point in time I was working in a small company, so he asked me relating to that also, GST, etc. Then I think one very, very major thing that I want to talk about is that always prepare when you have written something in your resume. You have to be prepared for that. Like if I've written Power BI, I cannot just write it, like, because the person, if I've written that, the person can ask me questions relating to that. And if I've just written for the sake of writing it, does not make any sense, because I won't be able to answer the questions.
Yeah. And then the interviewer gets to know that you lied.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the biggest red flag that you can actually have in an interview, that you're lying somewhere.
Yeah.
Because the interviewer, guys, is very, very experienced. Like even if I interview now somebody, I am experienced to get to know that whether they are lying or no. So
Yeah.
the person is experienced, and the person who is actually interviewing you is has experience of at least 7 8 years, at least, I'm telling you. And you
Yeah.
cannot lie to their face whatsoever, whether in the interview, whether in the resume. You cannot lie to them. If you lie, you are going to get caught, and that does not actually get a good impression. So that's that. And in my resume, basically I have written regarding Excel, that I have done Excel. So he asked questions relating to Excel, VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, all of these things. So I had to know them. If I did
Yeah.
not know, he'll again think that I'm lying in my resume.
Yeah.
So again, a quick tip for the students: do not, never ever lie in the resume. Whatever you have, even if you have not done a lot of internships or something on those lines, do not be ashamed, because right now you are a fresher and the person who is interviewing you knows you are a fresher. So that's that, I think.
Right. Okay. Were there any tools, courses, or resources which you used which help you in your preparation for the interview?
Okay, not too much, to be very honest, but yes, I referred to some of the, again, I referred to Google, I referred to YouTube, I think I reached out to some mentors also who explained to me the process, explained to me what type of questions are being asked. Some mock interviews, I think, right now are very, very prevalent. So I think you can definitely use them. Even I use them, and they were of great benefit. And that is the same reason we are being SSA have also started this thing, because I know that a lot of people actually face problems in the
Yeah.
interview, and especially for the people whose for it is the first interview ever in their
Definitely.
life, right?
Yeah.
So they need to have that confidence. I think confidence, with the term that I talk about right now, confidence, I think, is very, very important whenever you're going to an interview, because अगर आपके पास confidence है, even if you do not know something, you'll be able to get through it.
Yeah.
So I think because when we started with this service, the mock interview, there were two students who came up to me, and one of them was not confident at all. So basically, we have two rounds of interviews when we do the thing, and in first round, he was not at all confident. कुछ उसको सब कुछ आता था. He knew every question that I asked him, but he was not confident. And then I explained to him that you know something, but कभी कभार ऐसा होता है जो नहीं भी पता होता है, but have that confidence that yes,
You have to own it that
yeah,
I don't know this, but I am open to learn
learn
about
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is how he also grew, and then he gave his interview and then he qualified. So regardless of that, I'm just saying that confidence is really
Yeah.
important.
Agreed.
And nowadays I think you people have a lot of resources. हमारे टाइम पे शायद इतने नहीं थे, होंगे भी तो हमको पता नहीं होगा, but research about the resources, that's all I think I can say.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Did you face any rejection during this journey? And if you did, how did you bounce back?
Okay, yes, I think I gave into, when I'm just talking about my college days only, not after that, because I did apply for two of them and I did not take them
Mhm.
up. It was not a rejection. So in my college, yes, I did, because everybody faced rejections, and it was my first ever interview with EY India. So in
Okay.
EY India, they that was the first company that came, and I applied for it. I gave three rounds of it, and then the fourth round I was not selected, and I was happy, because as ACCA, you do not have any role in EY India,
Yeah.
regardless.
What will you do then?
Yeah, so that is how I bounced back, because I was like, I do not have to go to EY India, because I am doing ACCA. I need EY GDS or KPMG, like the KGS,
global
the
version.
global versions,
Yeah.
not the India version. So I did get rejected from EY India, and also PwC India, but I got into EY GDSM right now, and PwC का भी जो global version है, I think it's something else with the name I'm not remembering. That also I got in. So EY India, yes, I got rejection, and I think that was after the third round, because that point in time, I don't know what was the reason. Probably my interview did not go well, but I think one of the reasons was also because they only had two students from our batch, and there were 25 students who applied.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I don't know what was the reason, but yeah, that was the
Alright.
only rejection. Apart from that, I don't think so there was any.
Okay. And what was the most surprising, or you can say unexpected question that was asked from you in any of these interviews?
Okay, so now it's not surprising at all, but back then it was surprising to me. So EY GDS only, the person was, as I mentioned, he was a CA, and he asked me that why did you take ACCA and not CA? What was the reason? There are a lot of people who are doing ACCA, and ACCA has more, sorry, CA has more scope and value than ACCA. Then what persuaded you to take up ACCA? And at that point in time, I was blanked out. Okay, I genuinely, I was blanked out.
Did you
But
get offended though?
kind of,
Okay.
I did, but because he was himself, and by that time, I did not know he was a CA, because he did not introduce me to himself. So that time, I could have just
Gone wrong,
gone,
politically said incorrect
yeah,
stuff about CA.
yeah, I could, because I was so angered also, no, I was just little weird. It was very weird to me that why is he asking such. But I did not go wrong. I said that, and I was honest that time. Because again, I did not prepare for the questions. I was very honest in that way that I said that ACCA gives me that flexibility. I am doing my college. I am doing my society work also. I'm the lead. I'm at a leadership position there, and I am doing my ACCA also. I'm a part qualified ACCA also, and because ACCA has given me that flexibility, that is the reason I chose ACCA over CA. And he was happy with it because I did not say anything wrong for CA.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, when he asked me, "Do you have any questions for me?" and then I asked him his experience, etc. That is when he introduced me, and that is when he said that I am a CA, and I was like, oh my god, अच्छा हुआ मैंने कुछ उल्टा नहीं बोला, नहीं तो वो I was not have been here in EVA GDS right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true that. Okay, so just to ask you the last question before you close,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to somebody who is preparing for interviews at the moment, in
Okay.
general?
In general, okay. So be well prepared, I would say. Do not go in any interviews thinking that you know everything. That's the first thing. In the interview, if you do not know something, that's absolutely fine. You are a human being. You potentially cannot know every damn thing that the person is asking you. Third thing is have confidence. If you do not have confidence, it will be an issue. Even if you are not prepared well, then also have that confidence, because probably if the person will see your confidence and will see what
How you
personality are
conduct
you. Yeah,
yourself,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's that. And fourth one, you have ample number of resources today. Go to Google, go chat GPT, search on AI, search on YouTube. You will get a lot of experience. Like today I'm sharing mine, a lot of people would have shared theirs also. So just listen to the experiences, prepare some of the most commonly asked questions, be honest in your approach, be honest in your resume, be honest when you are appearing for any interviews, and I think you'll be good to go. It's not a big thing, to be very honest, especially for the freshers. If this is the first time that you're appearing for any interview, it's absolutely fine. The person knows that you are a fresher, so won't ask you any very very technical questions. And even if they ask you and you're not able to answer, that will be absolutely fine, because they know that you're a fresher and you cannot potentially know all the technical areas. So just be prepared for the portion that you can potentially do, and be ready for any bouncer questions. That's all.
All right, so this was our second episode for Real Talk with BeingACCA. I hope that you people get to learn a few more things to be able to prepare for your interviews better, to know what you can expect in your interview.
Yeah.
And we will see you with the next episode. Do let us know what do you want to listen about in the episodes to come, and we will surely take in the consideration of your suggestions. And let's keep growing together. Bye bye.